Yeah. Okay.
You can start now.
Good morning. Tashi Delay. Welcome or welcome back if you've been joining us every Wednesday. My name is Annalisa. I'm a Tibetan Buddhist nun. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm part of the family at Kunde. We're happy to have you with us, and we're happy to be presenting these classes here on Facebook. On Mondays and Fridays, Dr. Calzang is doing some classes on self-healing and self-care, things we can do while we're all at home. And on Wednesdays, we have these guided meditations. So we'll just do a quick review. Bear with me if you've been here every week, but if you're new, we'll do a quick review of what we're doing here. So we'll start with why we meditate. What's the purpose of meditation? Why would we even bother doing this? Well, we do it to train our minds. We can think of our minds like an athlete or a musician, and you'd have to train. It's a skill. You don't just, suddenly wake up with that skill. You have to work at it. Start at the beginning, you start slow, and you work your way up. So we're working to train our minds. And what are we training our minds to do? We're training them to focus. Because when we can focus, we can get a sense of calm. We can create some space. And in that calmness and in that space, we can use our wisdom to deal with our issues, to work out problems, and just sort of make our lives a little better, decrease our suffering. We can kind of turn the volume down when we can focus. So it's good if you have an established practice, stick with what you have if it's working. If you're new to this, my suggestion would be to meditate twice a day. We say D&D, dawn and dusk. So in the morning when you get up, take a little time before you start your day, just find a quiet space and just sort of spend a minute or two, 3-4 minutes, just sort of centering yourself, setting your motivation for the day, calming yourself, getting ready for your day. And the same thing in the evening before you go to bed. Just find a little space, quiet space, and just sit down and let go of your day. Everything that happened, it's done, can't change it. All you can do is get a good night's sleep, hopefully, and start the day new the next day. So just sort of letting go of your day, starting it with a positive attitude and letting go of your day at the end. And you'll have good days and bad days with your meditation, and you may forget to do it someday, and that's fine. We call it practice for a reason. We just keep at it, and it gets easier and it gets better. So we're going to do 2 types of meditation today. The first one is going to be a concentration or a stabilization meditation where we're going to focus on an object, and in this case it's going to be our breath, because that's the easiest. We're all breathing. So far, we're all still breathing. It's always with us. You can do this type of meditation anywhere. And then the second one will be a guided or an analytical meditation where I'm going to be talking, and it's when you're working on, like if you have an idea or a concept or you've read something that you want to explore deeper, or you're working on a problem, it's just sort of focusing on that issue. And we do these in combination because when we work on the first one, our concentration, our stabilization, when we've come to the point where we can develop this laser-like focus, then we can apply that focus to the second type, the guided or the analytical, where we're working at an issue or thinking about analyzing a situation, something like that. So we'll start with our positioning, and you could be seated in a chair. I'm seated in a chair. You could be seated on the floor if that's comfortable for you. I prefer to sit in a chair, and the where you're sitting isn't so important as how you're sitting, and it should be in a quiet place, of course. But you want to be sitting up nice and straight, because when we do that, we open up our lungs so we can take nice deep breaths, and we open up the energy channels that run alongside our spine so all that energy can flow. So straight but not stiff. Relax our neck and our shoulders. We hold a lot of tension there that we don't even realize. Our shoulders creep up and we don't even realize it. So shake our shoulders out a little bit. If you're seated in a chair, your feet should be on the floor. So you're making that connection with the earth, just feeling that grounding, that planted sensation. And hands can be whatever's comfortable. You can rest them in your lap, rest them on your legs. They can be in the traditional posture, right hand on the left with the thumbs touching, sort of just below your navel. But if that feels awkward or uncomfortable, it's okay just to rest your hands on your lap. Again, the actual position isn't as important as the comfort of the position, because when your body is comfortable and settled and feels secure and grounded, your mind will settle down. If you're in an awkward position and something hurts or something doesn't feel right, your mind is going to go to that. It's not going to focus. It's going to focus on the body, not calm down. As I said, for this, we're going to use for our focus our breath. So we're just going to breathe normally in and out. And we're going to use a second focus. We can focus on the sensation of our breath coming in at our nostrils, rise and fall of your chest, And we'll attach to that one more thing because our minds want to be busy. We have monkey mind. It's like monkeys swinging through the trees. It wants to go in a million directions and think about a million things. And we don't want it to do that right now. We want it to focus. So as we're breathing, we can focus on that sensation of our chest rising and falling or the air coming in and out. And we'll add to it a second thing. We can either count our breaths, counting on the exhalation, trying to achieve a count of 10, or we can just think breathing in, breathing out, sort of like a mantra. Or if you have a mantra, you can concentrate on the mantra and sort of time it with your breath. Again, whatever works for you. And you will get distracted. That's a given. I guarantee you. And we're not trying to get rid of the distractions. We can't make them disappear. We can't ignore them. We're not trying to ignore them. We're just sort of letting them fade into the background. I guess in a sense we're ignoring them. We're not really paying attention to them right now. It's said that our minds are clear and knowing. We think of like a clear blue sky without a cloud in sight, just brilliant blue with the sun shining, expansive, never ending. And that's what our minds are. And all the thoughts, the to-do list, the emotions, the memories, all those things, they're just clouds passing by. And the sights and sounds while we're sitting here meditating, if the phone rings or the kids are acting up or the dog barks, we just let them fade into the background. We don't pay any attention to them. They're there, but we just see them and let them go like clouds passing by. And we bring our focus back to our breath. So we're going to do this for 5 minutes. So I have a timer, so you'll hear a bell at the beginning and a bell at the end. So before we start, we'll take a few deep breaths just to sort of settle in. We'll take a deep breath in, slight pause at the top, and a nice deep breath out. And we'll do 2 more of these just to sort of settle in. Deep breath in, slight pause, and 1 more for a count of 3. Deep breath in, slight pause, and breathe out. And here we go. So that was 5 minutes. If that felt like an eternity, when you do this at home, try with 2 or 3 minutes. Set your timer for 2 or 3. And if 5 minutes felt great, move up to 8 or 10. You want to increase slowly. You don't want to suddenly go from 5 minutes to an hour because we want our meditations to be enjoyable. We don't want them to feel like a task or a chore. So now we'll move on to our guided meditation. Today I've been thinking a lot about change and impermanence, the situation we're in, all the changes that have been happening. So we'll spend some time thinking about that today. So if you need to shift your position a little bit before we get started, that's okay. I don't recommend getting up and walking around between your meditations. That kind of breaks that little bubble of space that we've created. And we want to kind of stay in this calm space that we've created. Excuse me. So before we begin, we'll offer our motivation, and when we end, we'll offer our dedication. And we do that for a reason. We believe in Buddhism that when we offer our motivation and dedication before we do something meritorious, something virtuous like meditation, working on our minds, we're sealing in the good karma, the positivity, the virtue, the merit that we've created by taking the time out of our busy lives to do this act, this meritorious act. And in Buddhism, we always offer the highest motivation, that of bodhicitta. And that's just simply the determination to work with our own minds, to come to our own awakening, our own awareness, so that we can be of the greatest benefit to all beings. So we'll take a few deep breaths again, just to settle back in. So nice deep breath in. Slight pause. Exhale. We'll do one more. Nice deep breath in. Pause. And exhale. So now I was thinking, as we're entering it's almost our third month, I guess we're going into, of our stay-at-home orders, our lockdown, so to speak, for COVID-19. It's got me thinking about changes. Of course, we're all ready for change. We're ready for this to end, to move on with our lives. So let's spend a little time just thinking about change, just trying to get a deeper sense and awareness and what's going on in our lives, and how do we deal with all these changes, and how do we get ourselves ready for the new life that's going to come out of this, because things are not going to go back to the way they were because of change. Things are always changing. So things exist in their current state for only a certain period of time, and that's the definition of impermanence. And everything is impermanent. Everything's constantly changing, whether we recognize it or not. Doesn't matter if we see it, it's still happening. The Buddha said, all conditioned things have the nature of vanishing. And impermanence is the number one inescapable, essential, and unfortunately sometimes painful fact of life. And we can see change. I mean, when the seasons change, children grow up, our loved ones pass away. We can see that. But even mundane things, we don't think about change so much. But even everyday things, your car breaks down, your shoes wear out, you drop your favorite coffee mug and it breaks. We lose weight, we gain weight, our hair turns gray. And we can spend all day just thinking about all these mundane changes that we probably don't even recognize or pay attention to. But that too is change, and it's happening around us all the time. So our goal is to try to develop a deeper understanding and acceptance of all these constant changes, this impermanence, because it's inevitable, this change. But when we can get a deeper understanding of it, a recognition of it, and sort of come to terms with it, it's not quite so painful for us. Because change can be good and bad. Change can be refreshing, can be renewing, even when it entails loss. I mean, winter always gives way to spring. Nothing new appears unless something old vanishes. So let's spend a little time trying to get a sense of this change, this impermanence, by considering our current situation. We've certainly all experienced major changes in our lives these last few months. So let's just take a minute or two here to think about all these changes, big, small, good, bad. Let's think about what you were doing 3 months ago today on a typical Wednesday, and think about how it is different today. And don't attach any emotions to it. We're not trying to get wrapped up in the good or the bad of all of it. We're just trying to just observe, just sort of step back and observe all these huge changes we've been through. So let's just take a little time to just observe all these changes. Now let's see if we can kind of, now that we've realized all these changes that have happened, I'm sure, like I said, we could spend all day just thinking about the myriad changes we've had in our lives. Let's try to put it into perspective. I heard something about we're all in the same boat. I heard that on TV the other day, and that got me thinking, sort of put this image in my mind that we're all like boats at sea. So let's take a moment and visualize your boat, your life, your boat. It can be a sailboat, it could be a yacht, it could be a rowboat, whatever works for you. And that's the sort of a representation of our lives. And up until now, we were in our boats, sailing along, pretty much smooth seas. It had ups and downs, but our lives were going along day to day, sailing our boats out on the ocean. And all of a sudden, these dark clouds rolled in. The waters got choppy, and the storm hit. And the storm was COVID-19. We all got slammed with it. And we had no choice. We had to take shelter. We had to sail our boats into a safe harbor, a little cove, to stay safe, to keep our boats safe, keep our lives safe, to keep the people on our boats, our loved ones safe, to keep all our neighbors' boats safe. We had to sail into this harbor, our shelter at home, and wait out the storm. We had to adapt. So for now, we're just in our shelter. We're riding out the storm because we truly are all in collectively the same boat right now. And this situation is not ideal. Of course, it's not where we want to be. We don't want to be in our little sheltered harbor for the rest of our lives. We want to be back out in the open ocean, living our lives. But for now, we need to stay safe and we need to come to terms with these changes. Because when we do that, we decrease our suffering. When we acknowledge that we had no choice in this matter, the storm hit and we're just doing the best we can to get through it and stay safe, and we're all going to be okay. We need to keep a positive outlook because this too will change. This storm will come to an end. It will subside. The sun will come back out. The clouds will roll away. And yeah, we've experienced horrible losses. We have to acknowledge that. Both big and small losses. But we've also had incredible gains. We can think about that we've had this time in our little sheltered harbor to pause, to recharge our batteries, to slow our lives down a little bit, to think about our priorities. Think about how the earth is just renewing itself because we're all home and we're not polluting the air and the water and the land. So the earth has had a chance to renew. We've had the opportunity to reconnect with people or deepen the connections that we have. I'm so happy to see all the help and support. It's so inspiring to see what people are doing to help strangers, to help others, food banks, sewing masks. It's an incredible sense of community that we've developed. Because we are all in this together. We are all in the same boat. It's true. So now let's sort of think ahead. Let's imagine a day, hopefully not too soon, when those clouds roll away and the sun comes out, and we can unmoor our boats and sail back out onto those open waters again, get back to our lives. And it won't be the same because you never step in the same river twice. That water's always flowing, it's always changing. But we'll get back to some routine. And we can think about the sense of relief that we'll feel, a sense of freedom. The sun is shining, our lockdown is over, we're back out on the open waters in our sailboat or our yacht or whatever boat we've created for ourselves. But we need to keep in the back of our minds, we need to stay vigilant, be a little cautious, because now we know that there will be other storms. The storms come and go. And we may have to sail back into our shelter, our little harbor again at some point, and hunker down until that storm passes. But I hope that we've learned that ultimately the storms do subside and we do emerge, and hopefully we emerge better people. So let's try to stay positive, hopeful, keep our sense of connection, a sense of community that we fostered. Let's hope this stays with us. Let's hope that we retain the lessons that we've learned during this storm. We'll bring our meditation to an end with our dedication. We'll close our meditation with our dedication. We'll dedicate the merit, the virtue, the positive karma that we created by taking this time out of our day to just spend a little time contemplating change, working on our minds, helping ourselves to become better people so that we can be better and benefit others. I hope you found that helpful. This has been recorded, so we can go back to our Kunde page at some point and watch it again if you got distracted or you got interrupted or you just want to see it again. We'll see you here next Wednesday. Unfortunately, we didn't get Facebook Live today. We had to record this. We couldn't connect to Facebook Live, but hopefully we'll have this posted shortly, and hopefully next week we'll be able to go live. In the meantime, I wish you good health. I wish you happiness. I wish you smooth sailing. We will get through this. Stay home, wash your hands, wear your mask. Don't forget to breathe, and be kind to each other. Thank you to DJ.